We're going to dive into some OTA news and notes coming out of the mandatory minicamp today from the Dallas Cowboys. Before we get to those, though, if you haven't already, hit that big red button and subscribe for all the latest news, rumors, updates, live videos, mailbags, and like everything in between around America's team. If you're a true Cowboys fan, you'll subscribe right now. We're going to get things started today with some Michael Gallup discussion. He chimed in on Good Morning Football discussing his future with the Dallas Cowboys, saying that he wants to stay in Dallas. After all, Gallup and Dak Prescott, well, they tend to get along very well, and in general, most players don't want to leave a very good quarterback. However, it's not quite that simple for Gallup and for the Cowboys. He's entering the final year of his contract, and he is going to get a bag from somebody at some level in the open market. More in-depth discussion about what that contract could look like here in a little bit. But I will make this note in general. If the Cowboys really, really want to, they can keep Michael Gallup. They also could have kept Byron Jones. It's a matter of whether or not they want to and how aggressive they want to be with their contract structure, something they haven't done too much of in recent years. Now, here's what Gallup had to say. Quote, "You're not going to get that contract if you don't do what you're supposed to on the field first." I think one thing to think about, you can't talk anything into the future. You just got to do what you're supposed to do right now. For me, it's just going out there, helping this club win ball games, having fun doing it. Obviously, I'd love to stay here, love to be in Dallas, love the community, love the city, love the fans. So it's up in the air, but I want to be right here. So we'll see. Nothing too surprising out of that quote from Michael Gallup. Of course, he wants to stick around in Dallas. They drafted him. He likes Dak Prescott, has had success so far as a member of the Dallas Cowboys. But as much as he might like Dallas, if there's more money elsewhere, and if it's a lot more money especially, that's very tough to turn down. Now, I don't know exactly what Gallup will command on the open market, but there are 5 recent contracts that I think could be a decent barometer for around what Gallup will command. Now, the salary cap is going to go up. It's going to be higher and more expensive, and that could boost Gallup beyond even the $18 million that Kenny Galladay got this past year. Frankly, I'd be a little bit surprised if he went for that much, though, even with the rising salary cap. Lockett just got $17.25. That might, or per year. That might be a good figure there. The 2 Rams guys got $16.25 and $15.75. On the low end, I'd be surprised if Gallup didn't get at least $12.5 million over a 3-year deal. And if that's all he costs, by the way, I'd be intrigued by that one. Now, as a quick note here, as you can kind of tell a trend here, the longer deal you sign, the more money you typically get per year because of the way teams can structure it. Although, NFL teams are starting to be more creative with their structures, being more aggressive, the Saints model, if you will. So I wonder if maybe that's not as impactful as I've always viewed it to be. Now, what also impacts the future here of Michael Gallup is the other free agents out there. Devontae Adams in last year of his deal, Allen Robinson, Chris Godwin, Will Fuller, Cortland Sutton are all just as good, if not better, than what the Dallas Cowboys have in Michael Gallup. So depending on who actually hits the open market, that could impact the money that guys like Michael Gallup end up getting in free agency, which would, of course, impact the Cowboys' desire to bring him back. Excuse me. Now, Michael Gallup this past season in 2020, he was a little bit limited at points just because of the way he was able to play. And with the role that he played, he was kind of stuck more or less being a vertical-only threat receiver with an offensive line that was kind of more limited in the end. So I am curious to see if the numbers get that much better. Had Dak stayed healthy the entire year, guys, I think he would have had 1,000 yards. There actually might have been the 3,000-yard receivers for the Cowboys with Amari Cooper, whose, quick aside, by the way, contract is movable if the Cowboys choose to take that route. Now, they could do the exact same thing and restructure him, save almost an identical amount of money. Of course, CeeDee Lamb's not going to go anywhere in the not-too-distant future. But the Cowboys have a good problem to face. What to do with Michael Gallup. So what do you think? Will the Cowboys keep him or not? Get your votes in for me. Type K for they're going to keep him, or type in L for they will instead lose him and choose to go in a different direction altogether. Get your votes in for me right now in the comments. K for keep or L for lose. Let's hit now some Cowboys minicamp news and notes. Day one was open to the media, so I went together and got all the different reports out there, and there are some common trends, by the way, that have emerged. First, a note from Mike McCarthy himself, who says that Dak Prescott will be ready to go for training camp this year for the Cowboys. A full go in the end, which if you've been paying attention, if you've been subscribed here, you're not surprised by this by any stretch of the imagination. This is rather expected. This has been the path that Dak Prescott's been on. Not going to get cut in June, as it turns out there. Frankly, there are really no reasons to be worried about Dak Prescott. Like, the ankle looks great. The Cowboys are still being a little bit cautious. They kind of maybe overpushed it early on, but Dak looks good. Here's what McCarthy had to say. Quote, we're not naive. Let's take any player that comes back from an injury, especially a major joint injury. That first year back, there's going to be some things you have to work through. But I would anticipate to start with him in full mode, referring to training camp, by the way, and get him into the team periods and just get him back to playing football. Now, Dak right now has not really been doing the 11 on 11 drills and OTAs. They've held him out of that area. But he's been working all offseason in his backyard. Because remember, Dak built the football field back there to help train in the offseason with his teammates there. So I am very excited about Dak Prescott. I've got no concerns about him whatsoever. Now, what I'm not excited about is this message I got from the bosses here at Chat Sports earlier today. I was told I have to get 10 news break downloads using our link right there, chatsports.com/CowboysNB, or else. And they did not specify what the or else is. And I tend to get very nervous, and I get a little bit concerned over things like that. So I have a family, so help me out. If you haven't already downloaded the Newsbreak app, do me a favor and go do it right now. It's chatsports.com/CowboysNB. I'll put the link in the comments section and the description. Don't let me find out what the or else is. Let's go to Kelvin Joseph now, who had missed the open media portion of OTAs last week, and now we finally know why. I think on accident more than anything else in his press conference this morning. Mike McCarthy let it slip that Joseph had been in quarantine for 10 days, and the only reason why that would be the case is if he were in the COVID-19 protocols and all that good stuff there. Or maybe not good stuff, but all that stuff right there. So he's back out there now, which is a very good sign, at least for week one. My expectation, my suspicion right now, is that it's going to be more of Anthony Brown, who is the lead cornerback for this Cowboys team at CB2. Of course, Trevon Diggs unquestionably is CB1 right now. But it is a good sign that Joseph's back out there because, simply put, folks, he needs the reps. He needs the opportunity, and he needs the game experience in practices, too, to develop. He hasn't played that much college football. Now he's in the NFL. So that learning curve is certainly there for Joseph. Now, I think Jordan Lewis, no matter what, will end up being the nickel corner, at least early on for this team. Maybe AB shifts into that role overall. But I think you've got I'll call it a 2.5-man race for that cornerback 2 role. I'm going to include Nahshon Wright because all the reviews out of minicamp and OTAs have been positive, and that makes me very happy, by the way. So pick a corner for me. Type KG for you want Kelvin Joseph to be out there as the number 2, or KJ, excuse me. KJ for Kelvin Joseph, did that again. AB for Anthony Brown, or NW for Nahshon Wright. Pick your cornerback 2 in the comments section. We will continue to keep you guys updated on everything going on around Cowboys minicamp and training camp in later next month. Got a bit of a lull coming in the not-too-distant future. But for all the latest and greatest Cowboys news and rumors, hit that big red button and subscribe today. Now, speaking of positive reviews out of minicamp and OTAs, Ezekiel Elliott continues to draw praise. And thank goodness, because Zeke needs to have a return to form in 2021. Now, I have not always been the most effusive in my praise of Zeke, although I think he got a bit of a bad rap this past year. Yes, the fumble's a major problem. I actually feel pretty good, though, about Zeke faring much better than what he did in 2020. He only averaged 4 yards per carry. That is not good enough. It is truly not good enough if you are Zeke Elliott. And there is a troubling trend that we've seen in recent years. Elliott's yards per carry, has gone from 5.1 as a rookie, part of the Great Wall of Dallas offensive line that was so incredible, to down to 4 in 2020. Now, a large part of that is because of the offensive line. They were decimated by injuries. They did not have Dak Prescott. Those guys being healthy will lead to more success for Zeke Elliott. By all accounts, he's in good shape, looks explosive, looks great cutting. He did a great job last year of making guys miss behind the line of scrimmage, getting yards where there should not have been any. Now I want to see more big plays. That's what I want out of Zeke this season. So what is your confidence level in Elliott for the 2021 season? Get your votes in for me. Scale it from 1 to 10. 1 being you want him gone right now, he sucks. 10 being you think he's the best back in the NFL. I actually feel pretty good, but I want to hear from you guys in the comments section. We will once again hit the Micah Parsons role conversation now, as there's some more updates here. First off, Calvin Watkins called him. He's getting some defensive end rushes. I'll get back to that. Micah Parsons right now, and he said this today as well, is getting work at all the different linebacker spots, which for this Cowboys team, and for most teams, falls into 3 generalized categories. Middle linebacker, the Mike. And then there's the weak side linebacker, which is the Will. And then the Sam, the strong side linebacker. Now, the reason why it's being defensive end from media reports is because I'm going to bully everybody into accepting that the strong side linebacker role and defensive end and pass rusher for this team, it's all the same. So I'll go through a couple different depth charts here and some photos to help indicate what I mean. If you want to run from the words of Dan Quinn, a base defense that looks like a 3-4, this is what it would look like. Where Brett Urban, great run stopper, I'll put him in there. Neville Gallimore, good run stopper, throw him in there. Defensive tackle. I'm probably asking too much out of Quentin Bahana to start, but you know what? He's a run stopper, and fatties only will never die, so I put him on there, even though it'll probably end up looking stupid. DeMarcus Lawrence will be a defensive end. His hand will be in the dirt. Micah Parsons will roll down from that middle linebacker spot to the strong side linebacker spot. Or maybe it's Randy Gregory. What this quote-unquote 3-4 front is, guys, it's actually just a 4-3 under. In reality, there's very little difference between the 4-3 under base, where you've got the Leo, in this case DeMarcus Lawrence, a 3 technique, we'll call that Neville Gallimore, a 2-gapping defensive end, Brett Urban, and a nose tackle, which in this case was Quentin Bahana, or whatever play you want to put in there. And Micah Parsons is playing the kind of sort of edge rusher, but not really, linebacker role there in the purple. The only difference between this look and this Falcons 3-4, true 3-4 look from last year under Dan Quinn, or maybe the year before that, under Dan Quinn, 2019 under Dan Quinn, my bad, is that the other guy on the edge is standing up. The only difference there is the one outside guy was standing up in the end. Now, if you want to get wild with it and really go for like a pass rushing 3-4 front where actually all or both guys are standing up on the edge, you could do something like this. Micah Parsons, Randy Gregory, stand up, true outside linebackers. Your pass rushing here, so you're not going to ask DeMarcus Lawrence or Tristan Hill or Odigizua to truly be a 2-gapping role there in the end, which is the main difference between most 3-4 and 4-3 fronts there. But you've got some flexibility. It will be multiple this year, and hopefully the Cowboys use their players correctly, unlike last year. And I do think that allowing Micah Parsons to come off the edge as a pass rusher has value. Something he did very well at college in Penn State, 5 sacks previously. He showed promise and ability in terms of blitzing off the edge. I want him to be in that role because it will also help keep him away from coverage where I don't fully trust him right now. So don't get too caught up in the 4-3, 3-4 designation, but allowing Parsons to blitz, I think will be a big deal and a good thing in the end.